Welcome to the Shiny-Headed Historian, your weekly deep dive into the past. I'm your host, the Shiny-Headed Historian. And today we're going to be discussing one of the most significant events in world history, World War I. But first, before we dive in, let's first explore one of the major causes that led to the outbreak of World War I, which is nationalism. Nationalism, or the belief in the superiority of one's own nation and the desire for self-determination, was on the rise throughout Europe during the turn of the 20th century. This was due in part to the fact that many countries, such as Germany and Italy, had recently unified, creating a sense of pride and unity among their citizens. This led to the desire for these newly formed nations to assert themselves on the international stage and expand their territory and influence. In addition to the rise of nationalism sentiment in newly formed nations, nationalism movements were also causing tensions within the Austro-Hungarian Empire. This multi-ethnic empire was made up of various nationalities including Germans, Czechs, Poles, and Slovaks, each with their own distinct cultural and political identity. These nationalistic movements within the empire ultimately led to its breakup and the emergence of several new independent nations. The rise of nationalism sentiment also had a significant impact in the Balkan region of Europe. The Ottoman Empire, or Turkey, had long controlled the Balkans, but by the early 20th century, several nationalist movements had emerged, seeking independence from Ottoman rule. These movements led to the Balkan Wars of 1912 and 1913, which further destabilized the region and contributed to the outbreak of World War I. All these nationalistic movements and tensions ultimately led to the outbreak of World War I. The desire for expansion and self-determination among nations, coupled with the breakup of the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the destabilization of the Balkans, set the stage for war. Nationalistic fervor also made it easier for countries to rally their citizens to support the war effort, which ultimately led to the mobilization of large armies and the outbreak of hostilities. That's it for today's episode of the Shiny-Headed Historian. Today we've explored how nationalism sentiment and the desire for self-determination and expansion played a major role in the outbreak of World War I. Join me next week as we delve deeper into the events of the war itself. Thank you for listening.